Morning guys, it is a beautiful spring day and I am super excited. I get to wear short sleeve shirts now because it has been very, very cold in New York. As you can see here, this is a 2006 Ford GT, 5.4 liter supercharged, about 4,000 plus of these made. Of course, it's based on the Ford GT40 model, which is the very coveted, amazing race car back in the day. So anyways, a lot of you have asked me about white cars and a few different questions on them. Do they actually get scratches, or why can't you see the scratches if you get them? So we're going to address that a little bit and see that it in fact does have scratches, and we can make white cars look even brighter and shinier, have more depth or pop to it. So there's a big difference between black cars and white cars. And a little other topic we're going to talk about is they have stripes. Some are painted and some are raised. Now on the raised ones, we're gonna do a little technique to avoid picking up a little edge, kind of like clear bra, but let's talk about that. And we'll tape up some little areas here. You know, normally I don't go crazy with taping up because I've been doing it long enough where I know it's not gonna sling so much, but there's a lot of Ford, what I call Ford plastic pieces that you need to cover up before you polish it. So that's all coming up today on this episode of Ride Along. All right, to get you up to speed, I did the wheels, I washed the car down, I dried it, I made sure I didn't have any contamination and clayed some spots here and there. So for all intents and purposes, I've done that work already, and it's what we call naked paint, so there's nothing on top of it. So before I get started polishing here and explaining and showing you, and I'll show you on the camera, you know, the difference of polished paint versus non-polished on white. Even though you can't really see it, I'm going to try to prop the lights out so you can be like, oh wow, yeah, there is actually scratches here. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But beforehand, with these raised stripes, I like to just put a little piece of tape along here. And when I'm polishing it, and I'll take video of that, I'm not going to actually compound it. One, it doesn't really need it, but two, because they're stickers, I try not to generate so much heat, which obviously is a bit more heat generated when you're using, let's say, a Meguiar's microfiber cutting pad, and this would be a 3-inch obviously down here. So I'm going to stay away from that. But you can polish it. You can polish it with a foam pad, which is a little bit softer, less heat, and it's not as aggressively grabbing the edge of the sticker and pulling it up. So that, again, this is just general advice. Sometimes you might have to do it and you're willing to take the risk. Here I'm not, because it's not bad, but I will polish it out because this will be compounded and polished, and then the stripe will just be polished. So beforehand, let's put a little bit of tape. So I go about maybe a 1/16 over on top of, meaning higher than the edge. You notice I hold it out here with my right hand, and then I use my left hand to place it. So right now, see, it's not stuck. I don't just like stick it on there. It'd take me all day. So I go about 1/8 above the mark, just in case. And then I'll go and do this. So I'll stop right here, just so I can keep talking. But I'd run all the way down there. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom here. Now you can go crazy and put a strip in the middle like this one right here. It won't reach the middle, I don't think. Yeah, see, it's not going to reach the middle. So let me just leave that there for a second, just for an example. So see how there's a little space here? You can go crazy and put another piece if you're really going nuts, but I'm going to stop right here, and I know that, I mean, if I make a mistake that big, I really need to think about my profession again, but this little spot right here is no problem. So I'm going to run that whole thing across. So the point of this, or thought provoking thing I'm trying to do here, number one is, are the stickers raised or are they not raised? So that's number one. Number two, do I need to polish them or compounding? Am I looking at them with my light, wherever it is, right here, the Rupes light? Am I looking at it and it needs to be polished or compounded? In my opinion, it doesn't need to be compounded. I'm just going to polish it to kind of bring the luster back out, but it doesn't need it that much. So stay away from these raised ones. Unlike the ones on the hood and the top, the center of the car, those are painted on. So big, huge difference. So let me finish doing this, and I'll show you the difference between polished and compounded paint versus not on a white car, which is kind of interesting. All right, the second point I wanted to make is that white-looking cars or light colored cars always seem to look cleaner or look less scratched. And in fact, they're not. They just happen to fake the eye out. Why is that black Carrera GT over there Why would it look more swirled even if you just barely touched it? Well, the background is black and a scratch, for all intents and purposes, is white. So if you put a white scratch against a white background, it's obviously going to blend in. But they're equally scratched. It's just the background. So a very common thing now is you see like an Audi or Mercedes or whatever, they're gray. Gray is a very beautiful hiding color as opposed to white. And nobody wants white anymore, they want gray. So anyways, you might think of that when you're driving down the street. You say, oh wow, look at all these gray cars. That's why people psychologically do that. So what I'm trying to prove here is, I'm going to pull the camera in and show you that this, although it looks really shiny from here, you know, when I pull the camera in, you'll see that there's scratching. And the best way to do that is, of course, do a 50-50 shot. So I'll just randomly pull it in. So I'll show you as I pull the camera in. There's just scratches all along here. And then I'll clean this side and leave this one and pull the camera back in to prove that it's equally scratched, even though it looks, quote, clean. So this is what sort of the trick is with a white car. You still have to do this process to make it pop and give you that extra little, whoa, wow, that looks amazing. So let me start on this right now. All right, well, I can see right off the bat here, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, I'll pull the camera in again, that, I mean, I took 99% of the scratches out with just one pass. This paint is actually relatively soft, but let's do the peel here. Oh yeah, it's night and day. So really the trick with white paints, how do you make it pop? How do you make it pop? It's actually just going through the same exact process. Because there are in fact scratches there, I can almost promise you. And once you go through this process and then protect it and whatnot, then the car really looks like it's almost like has this, you know, dripping wetness to it that even black cars sometimes can't have. So white is actually pretty cool. You just have to, you know, you still have to go through that same process despite your eyes being fooled. All right, guys, those are the few things that I wanted to chat about regarding this Ford GT, and specifically, with those emails that I'm getting about how to make white cars pop. So that's what it is. It's not as complicated as you might think. It's kind of doing the same process you would on a black car, just because you may not know that the scratches are there. What I had to do to show the scratches versus no scratches is so much more difficult than I thought. It took me like an hour to figure out how to shoot that, how to play with the ISO and all this camera stuff, which is a beautiful example of what your eye is doing at the same time. It's like you almost can't see it. But if I change around the light, I turned off the light and played with the Roop's pen there, you can see and you go, oh wow, there's so many more scratches here than here. So what I'll do is I'll take a picture at the end and give you an idea. Hopefully it's not raining and we can pull it outside and you can see how a white car pops. Of course, if you have any questions, shoot me an email, larry@ammonyc.com. I have a ton of work to do, and hopefully we'll shoot a video on the Carrera GT when I get some time. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching and keeping up with me and the support. So thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, I'm inside. I just finished. I pulled the car out, and naturally it started to rain. So forgive me, it's a little dark in here, but as you can see, paint is looking amazing. We have to play with the aperture a little bit, get some light going here, but let's see, can you see me? Hello? Yeah, so the paint really came out. So on this car, I'm not generalizing for all cars, but on this particular car, the paint was very soft, which is good for correcting, obviously, but not good for, avoiding scratches and things like that. So now it's flat, perfect, and it's protected, sealed, the whole 9 yards. There you go. I'm playing with the aperture. Look how shiny that is. So yeah, there's the little review, and remember the stripes, how to take care of the stripes. And remember, white cars gets just as many scratches as this one, which would be the next little project. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye.